Hey guys, so thanks for checking out those shortcut videos. Don't worry if it doesn't sink into your head straight away. After you've made one or two wedding films, it'll become second nature. As you're getting used to it, as I say, maybe print them out and then make one or two films. You're going to use those keys hundreds of times and it will just sink in to your subconscious naturally, so don't worry about it too much. There's still a few other key features I need to show you before you can crack on and make your first edit without confusing yourself. So let's have a look now. Let's get back to the edit page. So look, here is an adjustment clip. We can find it in effects, adjustment clip, bring one on. And here we can apply a crop top and bottom. If you want to make your little cinematic black lines over your whole video, you can do it all in one step like that. And guys, just remember, select that. If you need to reposition the y-axis, you can do it here. Besides that, don't forget to enable your proxies. You can put them here, prefer proxies, make sure that's on. You can also do that in playback, proxies, prefer proxies. Don't bother with optimized media. Go for proxies, they're more powerful and faster to use. Workspace, you've got an option here for dual screen and video clean feed. Currently I've got a video clean feed putting over to my laptop here, so I can see what I'm working on a little bit bigger. I've got a nice 4K Pantone laptop screen there, which is useful. It's not super important for me now when I've got my big screen here, but if I'm traveling, it's nice to have the laptop and then a second screen where I can see the video clean feed. That's a ProArt monitor. This is a ViewSonic monitor. That's an Aero monitor. They've all got Pantone screens, so they should be color accurate. Now, let's have a look. The other option is dual screen. So dual screen gives you two screens. You've got like a media and you've got your standard workspace. Let's switch these around by going over to view to primary display. So right, if you want a dual screen setup, you can have that. I don't find it particularly useful because, especially on the coloring side, it puts my vector scopes on the other screen and I like to have everything on one screen. So I would much rather use a video clean feed if I have two screens. If you've got three screens, you could consider it, but I generally wouldn't necessarily recommend it, again, because I like to have the vector scope here so I can see the image in more detail by looking at this. Alright guys, so I want to show you a couple of extra functions. The first one is stabilization. Let's pull that up here. So sometimes if you're hand holding, you may have a slightly wobbly shot. You see there's a little bit of camera shake. I'm manually focusing and hand holding. And guys, there's a few options for stabilization. Have a look at the window here. We've got perspective. This is the default mode. It adjusts the image angles based on pan, tilt, zoom, and rotation. Similarity always keeps the aspect ratio, otherwise it's the same as perspective. And translation is essentially looking at pan and tilt and nothing else. We've also got a camera lock option, which I find is quite useful if you are basically, you've got a shot which is quite steady and you want to kind of lock it off like a tripod. Camera lock will do its best to just keep everything completely static and it locks off all the other options. You also want to have zoom enabled on. Zoom stops any black bars getting in the video, so we should have zoom on at all times. So let's hit stabilize. we go. Another sample here. I was hand holding this bit. So let's hit stabilize, and look, we can crop in a little bit more. Okay. All right, guys. So stabilization, it can be tricky, guys. I'm sorry to say, it's not a perfect thing, especially if you're moving your camera around a lot. It's going to struggle. So always do your best to keep it as steady as possible when you're recording. But if it's not come out perfect, have a look at that stabilization and probably try camera lock first. And especially if it's like a solid sort of tripod-y shot, that will often get you the best results. But it can sometimes introduce a bit of like jelly looking stuff. So have a play. Sorry if it doesn't work out, guys, but it's there. Have a go. Okay, guys, let's have a look at a few more features that maybe were a little bit confusing to me when I first started. So one of those is the ability to cut through multiple clips. So say we are stacking a few clips. And I was confused as to why, if there was not like a single button which could cut through everything. And guys, so if I've got one clip selected at the top and I press E or razor, it's just going to cut through the first one. I'm going to undo that. But now look, if I'm not selecting anything, I press E, it cuts through everything. So it depends what is selected that gets cut. And if nothing's selected, it goes through everything. If you press the first one and you cut, and you keep pressing E, it's going to cut through everything again. So that's a function of the razor which confused me for a bit because I wanted to know how to cut through everything straight away. And that's how you do it. Okay, so remember what we said about keeping the timeline resolution in HD to keep everything running smooth. You can also hit to use vertical resolution here. And that might be useful if you want to make like an Instagram or Facebook vertical video. That might be a little bit too steep, so I might normally try 2000 by 3000, something like that. And also, actually, if you want to keep it faster, you could go 1000 by 1500. And you've still got that aspect ratio. So let's say some effect I might want to do. See, feet. Shrink one of these down. So I've got the video in the middle and the large behind it. You could also import some black rectangle like this. I can press Alt and down to move a clip up and down. That's a useful one. Here's a black rectangle. Let's pull this out. Let's change the zoom. All right, guys, so we've made a little start on an Instagram clip. I want to show you a couple of features. I'm using in and out on my mouse, actually. I'm just going to show you this mouse. This is a Logitech 3. This is a Logitech MX Master S3. It's quite a famous mouse because it's got all these extra buttons and wheels that you can program to your favorite shortcut. So yeah, I can use that to zoom in and out. I can use it to go across the timeline like that. and it's got gestures, so I can even program it to cut through everything, just my mouse, and also perform a few of my favorite edits. So Logitech MX Master 3S, if you want some of that functionality, quite useful. Anyway, so I want to pull in a film I made before. Now this one has been rendered already, so it's just one solid film. But say I just want a few clips, I can press in and out, then head over to timeline and hit detect scene cuts. And now guys, that's going to go through the clip for me and add cuts whenever the scene changes. That's quite a useful function. I'm going to press Alt-IO to get rid of my timeline bar. And I can take a few of those clips, add them to my little Instagram video here. So I can render that out if I like. And don't forget guys, we can add a bit of text. And I just wanted to show you, if you hit settings in text, you can move it up and down and change the size. You've also got shadow, background, stroke. Insta wedding. And then we can head over to render, which is this shuttle at the bottom. And now we're in the render page. We've got a few options here in the top left. So if you're exporting to Vimeo or YouTube, you can choose here, say 4K Vimeo, and it's going to choose good settings for that. You can also directly upload to your Vimeo if you log in. Put your file name in here. Sample wedding Insta. Hit add to render queue. Oh look, it's warned me add high resolution. So because I didn't change my settings here, I'm still in this sort of half resolution. It's not going to work out. So let's put it into 2000 by 3000. Save. So I may need to do that as a custom export because Vimeo wants me to do it in a 4K or HD timeline. So let's make that as a custom export. So Insta wedding. Resolution, we can put that as 2000 by 3000 now. And we can choose a few settings here. Guys, if you have subtitles, you can include your subtitles here, press export and choose burn into video. But we've not got subtitles, so nothing to worry about. Then hit add to render queue and then hit render. And so it's whizzing through that. No problems. We've also got an H.264 master if you want to do a very high definition video that you can then re-edit, or if someone wants it the maximum resolution. But guys, those can be like 30 gigabyte files when they're done, but they can look really, really good. And actually, I recommend if you're doing like a promo ad and you're going to bring that to a wedding fair and have a screen like this, like a professional coloring screen, go for that setting because it will make the videos look absolutely perfect. But for most of the time, we can use Vimeo 4K when we're uploading online, and then you can upload directly to Vimeo. It's just not working for this video because it's an Instagram resolution. So guys, I hope that helps. I know we did go through that fairly quickly, so you may want to watch through this video again, but I just want to keep these as short and sharp as possible so you can move on and start editing your films and start making money as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. We're going to be moving on to color very soon. I know you're excited for it, and me too. Hey guys, so one final part of the editor I want to show you is multicam editing, and this is super useful when it comes to editing the speeches and the ceremony. It can save us quite a bit of time. So let's have a look now. So guys, we had synchronized these earlier. Remember, we just press S or whatever your shortcut is for auto align clips by waveform. And here, these are now synchronized. And I've got a few other clips here. Not really part of it. I want to pull these across and then just start synchronizing them. One by one. And guys, where possible, it is best to record the whole ceremony in just one single clip. So you've seen here, I've done it in a few separate ones. That was because in this situation, there was a lot of songs that I didn't need recording. And also I did a few slow motion clips at the beginning, just as they're coming down the aisle. So I'm going to have to change these back to full speed. Now you notice the audio, when I do that, because the camera is not recording the audio in slow motion, it's crushing it. So I need to extend the audio to 50, I think. 50, yeah, and there we go. So now this clip and this audio is linked. If I pull this audio across now and synchronize it, it should be at the beginning. So it's found it, and now I bring that clip here. Let's hit that magnet so it sort of clips into place. Okay, so that's all lined up now. What did I press? That's all lined up. And yeah, guys, so I don't know if I actually mentioned this magnet. So the magnet will help you stick rapidly. So you see when it's close, it will just stick. So you see that gray bar here, it's sort of telling me it's sort of sticking to where it was. Remember, this is the link to link the clips. And guys, I use a shortcut F to select this. So I can press F and it's unselected, F, and now it should select both. That's quite useful. All right, guys, so this is quite a rough go. But say this is our ceremony. Let's say we want to bring in some audio. Let's put a new bin. Audio. Import some media. Let's pull that in. And start synchronizing it at the bottom. 1, 2. We make sure that magnet is on. That was a quiet version. Here we go. Okay, did that connect? Not quite. All right, guys, it's often a good idea just to listen through to make sure there's no breaks in the audio, because if you make a mistake before making the multicam clip, it can be hard to fix it. And guys, before we do multicam editing, it's good to do all the coloring. So sometimes that means if you've got a long clip, you might want to cut it a little bit in case the lighting changes, in case a cloud comes in front of the sun or something, which can then mess up your edit. But guys, for these films, for the ceremony and speeches films, it's not as critical as the highlight for it to be super spot on. So don't worry too much if, you know, it's not perfect the whole way through. It should still be of a very high quality, but it doesn't have to be picture perfect like the highlight films. So I'm not going to show you the colouring part now. We're going to have to go into the colouring part of the course first. But just remember, do colour the images before cutting them up. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a pain for you to then have to individually colour each cut. So guys, we've got the basic structure made here now. If we now go into timelines, we can see it as ceremony. Let's convert that. Sorry, let's first duplicate that. So we've got a duplicate copy. Now hit right click again, and then let's click convert timeline to multicam clip. Now we have a multicam clip. So let's make a little bit of space for it, drag that across, bring it in. Now we have our first multicam clip. And we're going to want a bit more space now. So let's take the inspector off. Let's take the media pool away. Let's pull this down a bit. And let's hit this button here with the 2 little rectangles, dual viewer mode. Come down here where we see the film, hit the down arrow and hit multicam. So now we can see all the clips. And you want to select just video, otherwise it's going to start changing the audio. Our good audio channel is track 4, so we're going to go switch multicam angle to track 4. And now we can start pressing play. And we can use the keys 1, 2, and 3. When we get more video, we can start switching it just by pressing 1, 2, and 3. Let's zoom in a bit further forward where we've got some more clips to work with. So let's press play here. So I can press 3. And it's going to select camera 3. I can select 2. It's going to then go to camera 2. Alright then guys, then it's just a case of pressing 1, 2 and 3 to select the camera angle as your video plays through, and then you've made that edit. It's a lot faster than cutting out each slice. So do colour your clips before making the multicam sequence, because it's going to save you a lot of time. But after you've cut up your multicam sequence, if you do need to make a change, you won't be able to do it in the normal way, because look at the nose structure here. It's registering as a multicam clip and you can't make any tweaks to it. If you need to make a tweak to it, guys, you can right click and hit flatten multicam clip and do retaining grades from angles. And now if I go into the coloring page, I get access back to my node tree and I can make those tweaks. So I hope that helps, guys. I hope that's clear. Thanks for watching, guys. And I think we're almost ready to start the coloring process now.